We have been around for about a year and a half. Our community has grown significantly, which is so amazing. We are so appreciative of everyone who has supported our platform, really all of our platforms, because together we are going to heal. Our tagline is Nawar Nawar, that the light in me sees the light in you. And together we are going to create a society that we can really, really embrace and support one another in our healing. All right. So as people are joining in, are we live on YouTube and Instagram?
Yes, we are.
Hey, everybody. So, Mira, you're on stage, right?
Yes.
All right,
Hi,
everybody. I want to introduce you to Mira, my amazing, amazing right-hand person. Mira, introduce yourself. Let people know where you're from.
Thank you. I'm joining you from Egypt. I'm very grateful to be a part of this community and to be joining you every Wadah Wednesday. I know we haven't done one in a while, but I'm very excited that we're back. And today we have a very, very, very exciting topic. So I can't wait that we just get right into it.
That's right. Thank you. Amazing. So, for everyone that's joining, I think it would be really cool if we drop a flag. Where are you coming in from? I am heralding from the United States, Los Angeles, California. Mira, where are you coming in from?
From Egypt.
All right, Egypt's in the house. So, if people want to drop their flag of the country that either they're from or where they're coming in from, that would be awesome. We always have folks from different parts of the world, and this is amazing. Welcome, welcome, Itachi, welcome. Love that. So, as for those that have been following Community for International Arab for a while, I think type yes if you know this conversation is about to get real when we talk about Arab Household Starter Pack. All right. People are joining. Welcome, welcome, everybody. We've got Najla joining. We've got Lena. We've got Joseph, Krish. Welcome, everybody. Amhara Ahmad. Welcome, welcome. And welcome, everybody. Let's see. Do we have anybody from Egypt? Egypt's usually Egypt. Mira, wasn't Egypt like one of our top countries that really supported our content?
Yes, Egypt and the UAE.
UAE is big. Yeah. Oh, where are my Yemenis brothers and sisters? Yemen, huge supporters as well. Oh, El Maghrib. Yes. Is that right? Did I say that right? El Maghrib.
Yes, El Maghrib. That's right.
Right. Yes. All right. We've got Big Zach joining. We've got, I'm sorry, sometimes I can't read your names. Oh, Abdul Latif.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Okay. So this is about to get real. My content is not for everyone. I do want to acknowledge that I do talk about things that we don't necessarily talk about as a culture. Sometimes it's challenging to hear people will say, you're not positive on the Arab, and I'm very positive. This is all about honoring our strengths and acknowledging that maybe there's things we could do a little bit better. And so today we're going to talk about the Arab Household Starter Pack, Mental Health Edition. And listen, one of the things you guys can do to support this content is you might want to share this live with a cousin who needs therapy but won't admit it. Do we all have that cousin? Oh, Shatrin, they're so smart, they're so, and yet you're like, ooh, I think you might need to go get some help, right? All right. Share this live with that cousin. Be like, here you go, cousin. Okay, so wait, is the microphone on?
Yes.
All right. Let me look at the comments. It's Angie. I'm Mexican and your videos have helped me. Oh my gosh. Angie, welcome, welcome, welcome. I thank you so much for being a part of our community. I'm so glad the videos help. We do come from very similar cultures, and so it doesn't surprise me that some of the topics we mention are helpful. I appreciate you taking the time to share that. Okay. All right, let's get going. Wait, I don't know what's going on with hold on one second. Excuse me. Okay. Excuse me. All right. Let's talk about an Arab household pack. We know Arab families come with a lot of love, a lot of food, a handful of trauma. We've got lots of jokes, pressure, and zero emotional vocabulary. Now, if this is triggering for you, take a look. I'm not saying all Arab families, this is not black and white thinking here or all or nothing. In general, people say, stop stereotyping. Well, sometimes stereotypes have their reality. In zero emotional vocabulary. Think about your own life, your own family. How much emotional vocabulary were you given when you were younger? So we know food equals what in an Arab family? Mira? We'll say that again.
Love.
That's right. Food, they showed their love through food. Mm-hmm. Yelling, what did yelling equal in an Arab household?
Communication.
That's right. Being out here in the United States, whenever non-Arab would come over, our American friends would say, why is your family yelling at each other? We're like, no, that's just normal communication. A big one in our culture, silence equals what?
Punishment.
That's right. How many of you, your parents would give you the silent treatment as a form of punishment? I cannot even emphasize to you how damaging that is, especially when you're a child. Mm-hmm. Sabr.
Emotional suppression.
That's right. How many times were you told, have sabr, right?
Yeah. And
what did that mean? Don't feel your feelings. Be patient. What's that? I was told a lot growing up. Tawli rohek. That was a big one. Tawli rohek inti. Right? Yeah. That was huge. Okay. Now, a big one that we don't talk about when it comes to the Arab Starter Pack is reputation. Many of you suffer because what does reputation equal?
Anxiety.
That's right. How many of you suffer from intense anxiety because you're worried about what your reputation or the family's reputation, what are the people going to say? A lot of anxiety stems from that within our cultural context. Now, with that said, am I missing anything? When you think about your own family, am I missing anything on what certain things equal?
I think we have the lack of motivation, meaning like I'm trying to push you to make you do better. I'm not going to tell you any positive thing about anything that you're doing.
That's right. Right.
Maybe you can help me rephrase it. So what it would be?
My sense is that's a good one. It would be, I will withhold like positive comments.
Yes.
That will equal motivating you.
Right. Yeah.
Criticism equals motivation. If I criticize you and put you down, the hope is that it will motivate you.
Yes. Sam said criticism equal positive reinforcement.
I love that, Sam. Good one. Very good. Yes. Love that. What else? Anybody else?
Mira's asking, what does resentment equal?
That's a good one, Mira. Let's talk about that. What does, if a family member you have, people pleasing equals resentment. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you people please, right, a lot of times there's resentment behind it. So let's talk about starter pack item number 1. We're going to do a little poll. We don't talk about feelings. So for the crying emoji, it's emotion. Growing up Arab felt mostly crying emoji, emotionally exhausting. Heart
Mhm.
emoji, loving but heavy. Uh-oh. The sun is coming in. This is
Yeah.
we're in a new space and this is not going to work for us. Hold on. Okay. Can we get some emojis? Let's see.
Yes, let's see.
So you growing up Arab, you felt mostly, were you emotionally exhausted, loving but heavy? Sam says conditional and exhausting. That's right. I love that. Thank you, Sam. Crying Noor, emotionally exhausting. Very good. Thank you for sharing. The reason why we're hoping more and more people can participate is that so we don't feel so alone.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm going to move over just a tad because the sun is somehow we didn't anticipate the sun rising over here. Some things, Mother Nature is now affecting our lives. Okay, that's all right. Oh, good Lord. Okay. All right.
We have Noor saying loving, conditional love always.
Mhm.
You.
Look at, we're back. See what happens, Mira, when we come back? The sun. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Okay, fine. Tell you, ya Allah. Okay, here we go. Welcome to social media land, everybody. All right. Where are we? Okay, so we did a poll. So we know that when we don't talk about feelings in our families of origin, many times when we don't talk about feelings in our romantic partnerships, we don't honor our feelings in our friendships and our work relationships. So it's not just what happens in our Arab families, it's how we move even outside of that. So what does it look like? Arab families are wonderful. They will feed you, they will clothe you, they will protect you in many ways. However, getting emotionally checked on, probably not. How many of you heard growing up, how are you doing? How can I support you? How many of you were emotionally checked on? So they did the basics, and they were many times our Arab families are wonderful at the basics. Let's see. AB, this is me, never heard it. Right. Farah, not me. That's right. So questions like, what questions did we receive, Mira? Questions like,
ليه بتكبر الموضوع؟
right? And when somebody would say that, what would happen? It was followed by what?
It was followed by a lot of shouting and a lot of suppression.
A lot of lectures. How many of you got lectured? That endless lecture of how you're moving in the world. And they would go on and on and on. It was almost like, and what they were lecturing you on wasn't even remotely what you may have been feeling. How many of you have had that? Yes, I had tons of, let's see, AB, this is me. I had tons of lecture on sabr. That's right. Yet, was it about the sabr? Or was it in that moment you needed to be seen, heard, and felt? Maybe you needed a hug. Maybe there was, you didn't even need words, you just needed presence, right? So one of the things that's important is, and if you were crying, what were you told if you were crying?
Ibrahim says, you're very sensitive, move on.
That, oh, I love that. Very sensitive, move on. You're overreacting, right?
Mm-hmm. Or in Arabic, dala, you're spoiled.
That's right, spoiled. You're not appreciative of what you have.
Mm-hmm.
Too sensitive, too weak. Very good. You're too much. Thank you, Crystal. You're too much. Now, if you heard these things, you may, well, first, before I get into that, why why does we don't talk about our feelings exist? There's real reasons for that. One of them is our parents were not taught emotional language. Now, this learning of emotional language is a very new thing. Even in my generation, we didn't have emotional language to talk about that. That wasn't in our discourse at all. And so you have to remember, be patience, sabr, talk about sabr, with your parents, for those parents that are trying, or for those parents that are wanting to do better. Part of it is give them some grace if they're trying to communicate with you and maybe they say the wrong words, or maybe they're not getting it right, to give them an opportunity, because they've been in survival mode for so long that self-expression is a luxury. Okay? That, think about it, feelings during times of war, poverty, instability, that would put them at risk, significant risk. If they had too many feelings about what was happening around them, that could have put them at significant risk. So we can understand that from a cognitive perspective. We can understand why they move that way in the world. I know a lot of Arab parents are trying to communicate. If I could say this gently and lovingly to the younger generation, there's the demand for them to get it right or to do it right. I think we may be asking too much. And so how do we build bridges and work together if you notice that your parent is trying? So with that said, you can't teach what you never learned. So if you're a parent and you have young children, learn these skills, learn to connect with your feelings so that you can also teach your children. Now, what is the mental health impact of not talking about feelings? Well, you may be an adult who struggles with naming emotions. You feel guilty for needing support. We come from a very hyper independent, so we're a very collective culture, yet we have this hyper independence where we won't ask anybody for help, typically. I understand where that comes from, and that's a whole other live and a whole other lecture. However, if you're someone that may need support, it's okay to ask for support. Now, the other piece is suppression until you're broken down. So by the time most Arabs come to see me for therapy, or by the time they seek treatment, they are at their breaking point. I was like that too. We've tried everything. We've suppressed the emotions so much. Sometimes it affects you physically. You may have an illness. And so you have to remember, if these are things you can relate to and understand the mental health impact, it may be very important for you to begin to name your own emotions, for you to start to develop your own emotional language. Because you have to remember, you didn't grow up emotionally supported. Many of us grew up emotionally managed, because your feelings may have been so big that your family was not able to tolerate it. So they would try and manage your emotions, suppress your emotions so that they could feel comfortable. So it has nothing to do with you. You were a child having big feelings, big emotions. Maybe you were more sensitive in nature. Perhaps you felt things more deeply than your siblings, than your cousins, than the people around you. It doesn't mean anything was wrong with you. It just means the way you move in the world was different than the people around you. So in our Arab Starter Pack number 1, we don't talk about feelings. This is where it's important for you to heal and shift that by teaching emotion vocabulary, validate your own feelings, which is one of the biggest things in the work that I do with Arab, is before we fix it, before we move into problem solving, can we at least validate what you are feeling. And how do we allow sadness without shame? We have so much shame as a culture around our feelings. It's almost like we're embarrassed, mistaheen, to feel anything outside of, I don't know, I'm getting emotional. Because there's so much happening, and yet we don't allow ourselves to feel the rage, to feel the sadness, to feel the powerlessness. And so this is why we come together, so we can bear witness to our pain, our healing, our distress, to say, I see that. And it's okay to feel that, especially now. All right, how are we doing?
Oh, wow. What a big topic.
It is a big topic.
Mm-hmm.
Ready for, should we take some questions, or are we ready for starter pack number 2?
No, let's do starter pack number 2. If you have any questions, feel free to just put them in the chat and I'll make sure that we answer them.
Thank you, Mita. All right, starter pack number 2. Yelling as a love language. Yelling, I have a whole other live on the impact of yelling on our nervous system. However, did your family talk about, let's do a little poll here real quick. Let's see here. I've got a good question here. Well, let's change that question. All right, forget the question. Let's keep going. Now, what happens when there was yelling in the household? What was the impact on you for the yelling? Your family yelled. There was communication. What happened to you? Did you yell back? Did you stay silent? Did you try and people please? What was the impact of yelling in your family? Anybody? Now I'm the one that yells. Nati, I love that. Thank you for being honest around that. Yes. Many times what it looks like is normal conversations equal loud. Now, again, if you're a sensitive person, that yelling could have been very intense in your nervous system. Sometimes one of the things around normal conversations is we don't know how to interpret that. Many times the family's yelling, they're talking loud, no one's listening to one another, everyone's trying to get their point across. And then you may find you're either, thank you, Artemis, you're either yelling back, you're speaking above them, you may be retreating in the corner because you don't want to get involved in that because you're not feeling safe. You may be that person that busies yourself in the kitchen or elsewhere. And so we all do different things when this yelling is communication. Because what happens in a family when there's a calm tone? What happens? When someone speaks calmly, what happens in our Arab families? Anybody? Anybody?
Suspicion.
Huh?
I'm saying suspicious.
That's right. It was hilarious. I grew up in a family where anybody that was speaking calmly, what did Mito Mac? It doesn't happen. That's right. Shayom says, not taken seriously. Yes, right? I grew up, it's true. I grew up in a family system where if somebody was speaking calmly, rationally, they were deemed suspect. Ish malhum. They're hiding something. And then they would try to evoke a reaction from the calm person. That's such toxic behavior because yelling was comfortable. Yelling was familiar. And so anyone speaking in a calm tone is suspect. I know, right? Hiding something, yeah. When that may not necessarily be true. So you may be the person that's healing in your family. You're trying to talk in a more, in a tone where people can, you want to foster more of that communication. And you may be deemed suspect. So just know you may be on the right track. Now, with that said, many times love is expressed through control, fear, and authority. And I have a whole video talking about the hidden positives of our Arab culture is that I love you. I want to protect you, but that also could mean control. I don't want you doing this because I'm afraid. Well, that's their fear. It may not necessarily be your fear. You also may come from a family system where there's a very authoritarian parenting, where they just want authority over you just for the sake of control. Now, why does yelling as a love language exist? Yelling equals stress release. So for many of our families, we talk about this stress that they hold, that they're not able to talk about, that they keep hidden inside of them, that when, again, I talk about this a lot, if a cup is moved from here to here and they start yelling, well, that's their way of releasing stress. What the parent doesn't understand is that for the child, something so small to have such a big reaction can cause a lot of anxiety. It's almost like the situation doesn't warrant the amount of emotional intensity. This may be you too. So it's about you taking a look and saying, what stressors am I holding on to that I'm reacting in this big way over something that doesn't necessarily need that? So with that said, it's a learned behavior, right? Full disclosure. I was a yeller. I was a fighter. And it took me a long time because that's what I was taught, that that's normal, that that's okay. So when I had Binti, my daughter, I thought, I really need to get that, because clinically I understood the impact of yelling on a child's nervous system. And it took a long time for me to unlearn that behavior. Now, with that said, catch me on the wrong day. Yeah, I could easily start yelling and going off. And that's why I'm saying it's a work in progress. You must be patient with yourself if you're the yeller. And also, we had no modeling of calm communication. So being able to model that for the younger generation can be quite healing in breaking these generational cycles. Now, you have to remember, as parents, they weren't yelling at you. They were drowning. Anytime someone is yelling, again, I'm not excusing the behavior. They were drowning in whatever it was that they were going through. So what's the mental health impact? Number one, nervous systems are stuck in survival mode. The majority of, in my experience as a clinician of 20 plus years, when I'm working within our cultural context, most Arab that I work with, I have to say that because the internet, you guys start yelling at me for generalizing, is nervous system stuck in survival mode. So your nervous system now is in this stuckness of, it's either a fight, flight, or freeze or fold response, right? And so, and it may make you hypervigilant. So what's hypervigilance? You're in a state of heightened alertness to one's surrounding. Where are my scanners? I do this. I'm constantly scanning my environment. Where are the threats? I could be in a totally peaceful, relaxed environment. I'm looking, okay, where are the doors? Where are the window? What's behind me? Shu warai, kodami. I'm constantly scanning. I'm looking at people. Is this person safe? Now, this is that exhaustive search of potential threats or danger because you want to create a safe environment for yourself. These are the impacts of yelling in a family. So one of the things that's important to remember is you may have fear of conflict. So you may be conflict avoidant, which makes sense. Because anytime somebody yells, maybe your boss speaks to you in a tone, maybe your partner is expressing their feelings and you immediately avoid it, then you pull back. Or you may explode in anger, or you may do the fold response where you're people pleasing to ensure that that person doesn't get upset anymore. And so you're walking on eggshells. And then for my people that like to flight, you run to your room or you leave the house and you avoid it altogether. So these are some of the mental health impacts for people to really understand that you didn't grow up scared of getting in trouble. You grew up scared of tone changes. Because the moment Baba walked into that house and you sensed whatever, you could tell immediately what mood he was going to be in just by the shift in his tone. And then you learn from a young age, more often than not, how to adapt to ensure your own safety through the fight, flight, freeze, or fold response. And so this is why, if you're a parent, to please ensure that this is not to police yourself, but it's to be aware if you're stressed, if you're overwhelmed, you let your family know. You let your kids know, Baba needs 5 minutes. I'm exhausted. Or if your mama needs just a few minutes, you're teaching your children emotional regulation by modeling for them breaks are okay. Naming your feelings is okay. And you want to go from replacing the yelling with a pause, take a break. I need 5 minutes. I need to, right? We used to say, I used to tell my daughter, Mommy, I would tell her, you need space. I would tell her, Mommy needs some space. And so and the kid understands that. Your partner hopefully will understand that you may need some space to help you regulate from yelling. The other thing that's important in healing this shift in this yelling is the love language. If you do yell, if you did go off, if you did engage in behavior that you didn't necessarily feel good about, it's okay to apologize after yelling. This alone heals so much. I always use myself as an example. With my daughter, I tell her, Habibti, I am so sorry. I use her Gen Z language. Mama crashed out and I had a crash out, and here are the reasons why. They have nothing to do with you. And I'm sorry, and I'm going to be more mindful. So over time, she's learned that, okay, Mom, when she's under pressure, she will take a step back to ensure that I have the space. She won't put more demand on me. That's not that she's managing my emotion, but we've learned to understand one another where we can give each other space. That's healing. That's healing generational trauma. And it's also teaching your children that disagreement is okay. It doesn't mean danger. Growing up, many of us, if we disagreed with our parents or said, that's not what happened, that's not what I'm feeling, that's not what's going on, they would go off or criticize or put you down for just disagreeing with what was happening. So instead of engaging in a dialogue of understanding, of curiosity, it was met with, you're wrong, you're the problem. And so then you grow up, any kind of disagreement can be threatening. So you heal that by recognizing if your partner comes to you or your boss comes to you and they have a disagreement with you, it doesn't your nervous system will internalize it as danger or a threat. Yet it's important to understand that disagreement is part of how we can communicate, become more vulnerable, and learn from one another. All right. Okay, questions before we move into starter pack number 3.
Yes, we have a few people joining as well and saying,
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome.
yes, they're celebrating you. They're saying, welcome back.
Thanks, everybody. It's good to be back. Thank you, Ibrahim. It's good to be back. I love it. I love it. It's good to be back.
Yes, and if you've been here before, you know that Tiffany likes to always make sure that she listens to your questions, she answers them. So in case you have any question that is related to the topic, please let us know. And if it's not, would you like to answer it now?
Answer what now?
Questions that are not related to the topic.
No, we'll do that at the end.
Let's spin it to the end. Okay.
Yes. So today's topic for those that are joining is the Arab Household Starter Pack, where we just talked about the first two things. Number one, we don't talk about feelings. Number two, yelling as a love language. And these are things that's important for you to be aware of growing up in an Arab household, for you to be able to heal, and shift. The more awareness we have, I don't have the answers, right? The only thing that I try and do here is to say, if you could relate to this, if you can understand this, if this is something that you've experienced, A, I want to validate that for you. B, create more awareness in your life around that. And C, let's come together and work through how we can heal and support one another in moving us forward in this. So starter pack number 3, comparison culture. Uh-oh. There is always a cousin. Cousin ibn ammak al-doktor, bint ammak mitjawza, the cousin that's skinny. شو skinny في العربي ميرا؟
رفيعة.
Oh, this one, I got this one a lot. ليش انتي زي your cousin that never talks back, البنت عاقلة. ليش انتي the way you are? Why can't you be more عاقلة زي, whoever? Mido Max says there's always the superhero cousin. That's so true. Your cousin would never do that. Oh my gosh, right? Totally. That is so funny.
I wonder how the cousin feels. I'm sorry to stop you, but I'm just wondering how the superhero cousin feels. Like, how is their life? I'm wondering.
So I've seen it on both sides of the fence. I've seen the superhero cousin feel so much pressure that they're the family, king or queen, that they can never make mistakes. There's so much pressure. They don't like having that role. And then there's the cousin, the more toxic cousin, that relishes in their mediocrity because the family heralds them as a superhero. And you're looking at them like, yeah, no, I'm not sure, right? And then they put you down, right? And the cousin tends to embody this bravado of, I'm the superhero cousin. They're usually the toxic ones and unhealthy ones that really own that identity without much there behind them. So what does it look like? In this, I call it the cousin effect, right? The comparison culture. What it looks like, achievements, your achievements could be minimized or not even seen at all. That love feels conditional, that as long as you keep striving to be that superhero cousin, which we know, I have multiple videos on, they move the goalpost, you can never get there because they're invested in this superhero cousin. That love feels conditional. So how does this impact your relationships, your work, that you may overfunction, you may do too much at work, you may take on all the projects just to be top. And yet what happens is the more you work, the more work they give you. And it's resonant of typically of your family system. So why does comparison culture, the cousin effect, exist? Well, I've talked to many of the elders around this, and parents think comparison motivates. They think if I compare you to, bint ammak, then it's gonna motivate you to do better. They fear that their children will fall behind. That's a big fear. And reputation anxiety, that if you're not doing what Dr. Hami, Mhanda, whatever all that stuff is, that the parent's reputation or the family's reputation, right, will tend to be impacted. So what is the mental health impact on you? I've seen chronic shame, constantly apologizing for who you are and how you move in the world, perfectionism, imposter syndrome. And I don't like imposter syndrome, but I use it as a concept because many of us are placed in environments that breed imposter syndrome. So you may feel very confident in your skills and abilities, yet you're in an environment that completely will put you down for it. Which then creates the imposter syndrome. And a huge limiting belief that I see is never feeling enough. So no matter what, you do not feel enough because growing up, so even if you've lost all the weight and you've worked on your physical body and your health, emotionally, you may still feel like that child that was body shamed and compared to the skinny cousin. You could be at the top of your career, yet you may feel like you're not doing enough because you're not the doctor, you're not the lawyer, even though you may be at the top of your field. So even when you succeeded, you waited for the but. How many of you have had that? You may have graduated with top honors and you waited for the but you didn't do this. Ibn Ammak bought a house. Ibn Ammak fi عنده Mercedes. Usually it's tied to material success or status, not who they are, the character of their person. Because they could be a total limited, challenging individual, yet because they have this material status, somehow that is valued over the kind, loving family member who does everything for everyone. And if that's you, be very, very careful in these messages that you may be internalizing. And if you don't even respect the person, I always say, unless you're paying my bills, vulnerable, your opinion, if I don't respect you as a person, your opinion means little to me. All right. So one of the things to shift this and to heal this is to replace comparison with curiosity. And so when someone's comparing you to the cousin, be curious. Well, what is it about that cousin? Is this even a person I value? Is this somebody I want to emulate? You can feel motivated by people in their accomplishment. Go, yeah, I really think that's amazing. How did they get there? But if you don't respect the person, be curious. Why am I putting myself down over somebody I don't even value? I'm getting punchy at the end of the live. I'm just keeping it real, okay? So for you to be curious about that. We want to praise effort. A lot of times with children, you praise the effort. I think we've gone too far on that side of the pendulum where we praise children here in the US especially. We praise children too much, like they could, I don't know, breathe. And you're like, oh, yay. We don't want that either because that creates a false sense of self. But you do want to praise for effort and not the outcome. I always tell my daughter, I'd rather have you try and fail than always wonder what if, because it's not about the outcome. It's about you. Who are you going to become, or how are you going to grow as a person as a result of you trying? And that's more important. We want to separate. This is so key for many of you. You want to separate your worth from the achievement. You getting a degree or not getting a degree, you becoming a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, you need to separate your self-worth from that. That's going to be key. And how do you do that? Is by reminding yourself that you are so much more than your achievements. Okay? How are we doing? Good?
Yeah,
All
we're
right.
good.
Okay, let's keep going. Now, let's see, because I know we're towards the end. I want to get to people's questions. I think another one is sabr equals silence. Pain is dismissed with religion many times. What sabr equals silence also can mean is abuse reframed as patience. Be patient. I see this a lot in Arab marriages. The partner, either the man or the woman, they're being abused verbally, emotionally, in some cases physically. Just be patient. Stick it out. Be grateful you're married. All these things. And that could be very, very dangerous. If you complain, and I don't even see it as complaints, you're expressing a frustration, and they will label as you're ungrateful. You should be grateful you're alive. You should be grateful. Yes, in one sense, we can have gratitude for the things that we have, and that's a very effective way of moving in our world. Yet you're entitled to your frustrations. You're entitled to have your feelings. But when a parent immediately labels it, you don't appreciate what we do for you. Again, you learn to suppress, and you learn to put up with we come from a culture where I see we have very high frustration tolerance. Like by the time we leave a marriage, work situation, friendships, I mean, we can handle so much emotionally, but we carry so much that by the time we get out, man, it's because of this. Just be grateful. It's okay. Move forward. It's going to get better. When you know deep down inside, it's never going to get better. So why does this sabr equal silence exist? Well, and I have a whole video on religious trauma. We misuse faith. That's a big one. It doesn't matter your religion. This is in Islam, Christianity, Druze, Judaism. It's in all of them, right? Where they misuse faith. Fear of chaos if emotions are acknowledged. Now, we have the phrase, you got to feel it to heal it. And if we keep suppressing it, it's that fear that if we feel things, it's going to create more chaos. But it's in leaning into the feeling that you can overcome it and build capacity within yourself to manage more stressors. But the more you suppress, what you resist, as they say, persists, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And so many times we're confusing endurance for like holiness or saintliness, or somehow the more you can endure, the more angelic you become. I know that was like the martyr syndrome, which leads to victim mentality. Look how much I've sacrificed, because look how much patience I have. But to the child, what you're teaching them is you put up with a lot of crap and you keep quiet and you don't say nothing, because you're showing what a great person you are. That has significant impact, not only on your mental health, but also on your physical health. It could lead to spiritual guilt. You feel guilty for even asking for your needs. You blame yourself for not being able to manage emotions. You will start to internalize staying in harmful situations too long. And so we have to be really careful that many times faith was used to quiet pain instead of healing it. And that's truly important for us to remember, that we could use faith, for those that believe, we could use faith as a way to heal it, not to keep it hidden. Okay. So we teach patience, yes, through action, right? You want to teach patience with boundaries. You want to normalize faith with therapy. It's all okay for us to move through these things, to have sabr, but it's the situations in our lives that come so that we can become the people to become more patient. Do you see where I'm saying this? You're saying, why is all this happening to me? It's happening to you, so not for you to keep holding on more. It's happening to you for you to lean into it and to say, I don't want to tolerate this anymore. I'm going to have developed the patience within myself to have self-compassion and say, I don't need to put up with this. Okay. Does that make sense, Mira? I felt like I was being a little too wordy.
No, it does.
Okay. All right, let's see. We've got two more. Let's go to starter pack item number 6. I'll skip 5. Therapy equals crazy, weak, Western. Oh my gosh, if I get Inti, what do I get from the comments, Mira? Inti, you're influencing the West, Alena. No, listen, it's not an East versus West thing. It's a human thing. We mock mental health. We fear reputation damage. If your child or your adult, you go to therapy, therapy is seen as a failure. No, you know why therapy is crazy or seen as majnoon or majnoona is because we still have significant stigma in our culture on emotional health and wellness. We also lack exposure. I think that's also important. Around these things. And the fear of family secrets, I think, is the biggest one. I know when I started my healing journey and being in therapy, oh man, did the secrets come out. A lot of stuff, a lot of heavy things. And so the parent or the family members are afraid in you being able to process these things and talk about these things. They're deathly afraid of what the outcome of that's going to be. And I can tell you, being on the other side of that, that fear, we delay our own healing. We only seek help when we're in crisis, and it isolates us. That's why we started Community for International Arab, because we're all isolated, khaifin in the corner. And I'm saying, we don't have to be khaifin anymore. Let's just talk about it. It doesn't create chaos. We're just naming it. And for those where it doesn't resonate, tayyib, you don't have to, it's the internet. You can get off. Like, you don't have to, be on here or be on the live, you see? Hold on one second. TikTok's telling me I'm done. TikTok does not like me right now. Okay. Okay, so what is the last part? We're going to end in about 4 minutes here. Okay. So with that said, we want to heal this by understanding that therapy equals guidance. That's all therapy is. With the right therapist, they just guide you to deepen the relationship with who you are. Okay. You normalize confidentiality. You're not airing out the family's dirty laundry. You're just having a space to talk about it. And we want to frame therapy or getting healing and whatever that means to you as a form of strength. That means you're telling your body, your soul, your being, I want to live a more joyous life. I want to live a more full life. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? If your leg is broken, you go to the doctor. Why not your mind? Why not your soul? Why not your being? We have all these things we can go to. What is wrong with therapy, with the right fit of a therapist? Okay. So the last piece I want to talk about is the cycle breaker starter pack item number 7, the cycle breaker child. Many people that are drawn to Community for International Arab are the cycle breakers in their family. I get DMs all the time, people wanting to break out of these cycles because they're saying this is not healthy. And I'm alone. And you may be the one reading about mental health. You may be the one that was told you were too sensitive. You may carry the guilt of wanting change in your family. They may punish you for that. And I'm going to say why it's hard to be the cycle breaker, because you are alone. I mean, you have our community, yet in your families of origin or in your own community, you may be one person in an entire community. And so you're doing the emotional labor alone. You're grieving what you didn't get. And I could spend a whole hour talking about the grief. And you're often misunderstood. You're often misunderstood. And the mental health impact is you may feel alone, isolated, burnout, identity conflict. You may be wondering, who am I? Why was I born into this family? Like, these people make no sense to me. This community makes no sense to me. I don't speak Arab, right? You may speak Arabi, but do you speak Arab, right? Do you like that?
Yeah, it's the first time for me to hear that.
That's the first time I said it, right? I think I heard that somewhere, right? And so if you don't speak that, you're speaking the language of love to people who may only understand the language of war. Now, it's not a judgment on them. That's just where they're at. It's about you and what you need to do in moving forward. So you're not difficult. You're aware. Let me repeat that. You are not difficult. You are aware. And your awareness may put you at risk of people putting you down even more, trying to keep you down. And just know you're on your right path. Okay? And so you heal that by finding your chosen family. It may not be your family of origin. You want to, your energy, your peace begins with you creating an awareness of what you need. And it begins with you healing yourself first. And it's like a pebble that's thrown into a pond. Your healing, which is the cycle breaker, may be the healing of those around you. And it may take time. I know as a cycle breaker within my own family and my own community, it took decades before I was able to see the healing effect of me honoring my own truth for others. And so we're going to end with Arab households were built to survive because they had to. Now we're learning how to help them feel safe. That's what we're trying to do here. Okay. So I wanted to thank each and every one of you. If this live felt familiar, you're not alone. You will find that on our YouTube channel. The full live will be put up there. If you missed parts of it, you're more than welcome to revisit it. Please, if any of this resonated with you, and you're to remember that we have these mental health conversations every Wadih Wednesday at 8 a.m. PST. DM us for topic ideas. We love to hear from you. And share this with anyone who you feel may need it. I think for anybody that wants a part 2, let me know in the comments, and maybe we could build a part 2 on this. Remember, you're not weak. You're human. Healing. We can heal together without losing our culture. And that's all I have for today.
Thank you so much.
All right, Mira, I think we're just about at the end. Thank you everyone for joining us today. It's so good to be back. Thank you for all the support. We are so grateful to this Community for International Arab. We really appreciate each and every one of you and the support. And I wish you guys a wonderful day wherever you decide to move in this for the evening or the day, wherever you are in the world. Nawar to nawar, the light in me sees the light in you, and together as a community, we will continue and heal and uplift one another in love, compassion, and light. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.